All right, so for today, the lesson's going to seem pretty much the same. That's because it is. Because we're going to work on dividing rational expressions, okay? So, just a quick rewind. We did something like this maybe Tuesday last week, where, if you're dividing fractions, let's say you had like 5/8 divided by 1/2. Again, to divide fractions, you keep the first one the same, but you multiply by the reciprocal of the second. So 5/8 divided by 1/2 turns into 5/8 times just really 2. I wrote it as 2 over 1, but you end up with 10. 5 times 2 is 10. 8 times 1 is 8. Reduce that down to 5/4. Okay, so that's all we're going to do here. So really, you're just going to flip that fraction. First one stays the same, so I got 3y plus 3 divided by 6y plus 12 times, I got 18 divided by 5y plus 5. All right, so as far as getting your restrictions, you're going to do 6y plus 12 equals 0, so 6y equals negative 12. Y cannot equal negative 2. You got to do 5y plus 5 equals 0, so y cannot equal negative 1. So those are going to be your two restrictions on your denominator there. So next up, factor out of 3 here, so you got 3 times y plus 1. Factor out of 6 down here, so you got y plus 2. 18, can't do much there. You can factor out of 5 in the denominator over here and get y plus 1. So as far as starting to simplify everything here, you can certainly start to see that you have 3/6 right here is 1/2, or 18 divided by 6 is 3. You're gonna end up with 9/5, but I think sometimes it helps to just go right across the numerator. 3 times 18 is 54. We still have that y plus 1. Just to put everything together here, I have 6 times 5 is 30. Then I have y plus 1 and y plus 2. So y plus 1 divided by y plus 1 is 1. 54 over 30 is going to end up being 9/5. Both those are divisible by 6. And you still have that y plus 2 in the denominator. And again, y cannot equal negative 2, and y cannot equal negative 1. All right, so that's what you're doing. Like, you're just turning these division problems into multiplication. So again, that's what we're going to do to get started here. So that's your original. I'm going to turn this into, if you want to start to factor this, it might make life easier in the future. Times, we got to flip this, so we have x minus 2 in the numerator, and then 4 times x plus 1 in the denominator there. So as far as your restrictions go on this one, it's pretty easy. This denominator is 7. 7 is just 7. It's never going to be 0. Take your 4 times x plus 1 equals 0. All you got to do is x plus 1 equals 0. So x cannot equal negative 1. Then as far as your simplifying goes, x plus 1 divided by x plus 1 is 1. So you're going to have 6 times x minus 2. You got 7 times 4 is 28. That's all you got in the denominator there. 6/28, though, just reduce that down to 3/14. So you're going to have 3 times x minus 2 divided by 14. If you want to write it as 3x minus 6 divided by 14, and then x cannot equal negative 1. That'd be a good final answer there. All right, starting to get into some longer ones here. Again, if you want to start to factor, while you're rewriting all this stuff, that's good. The numerator here, you go x plus 2 times x plus 8. Down here, x minus 8 times x plus 2. Flip your second fraction here. So in the numerator, I'm going to factor my x squared minus 64, make it x minus 8 times x plus 8. Again, we're flipping that whole fraction. And then in my denominator, I have an x plus 8 after flipping that. So again, when you go to find your restrictions here, you have to do x minus 8 equals 0, so x cannot equal 8. X plus 2 equals 0, so x cannot equal negative 2. And x plus 8 equals 0, so x cannot equal negative 8. So we go to simplify then. Remember, you can only go 1 for 1 on these, all right? That's going to be important. Well, first up, you got x plus 2 divided by x plus 2 is 1. And then you have x plus 8 divided by x plus 8. All right, this x plus 8 is going to stay there because I can only go 1 for 1 with my x plus 8s. I have x minus 8 divided by x minus 8. So my final answer is just going to be x plus 8. And then x cannot equal negative 2 and positive and negative 8. That's your final answer. All right. Last up, just kind of one with I have x's and y's. Kind of working on just some monomials here. So again, flip your first fraction or your second fraction. Think about your restrictions here. As far as your restrictions go, you have 24y to the 5th in the denominator, so y cannot equal 0. And of course, x cannot equal 0. All right, if y is equal to 0 and x is equal to 0, you're going to have zeros in the denominator, and that's no good. All right, so probably the easiest thing to do is just go right across the numerator, right across the denominator to try and start to simplify this stuff. All right, so one way to make things a little bit easier, though, too, if you want to simplify your fraction, 7 over 21 is equal to 1/3. Okay, and then I have 12 over 24. That's going to reduce down to 1/2. Sorry. All right. So really, when it comes to my fractions in the numerator there, I have 1/3 times 1/2 is going to be 1/6. Okay. If you just want to go 7 times 12, that's going to be, what, 84, 24 times 21. I don't have a calculator on me right now, to be honest with you. But you're going to get some pretty big number, and you can just reduce it, but it should reduce down to 1/6. But I know I'm going to have 1/6 as my fraction. I'm going to have x to the 4th, y to the 4th in the numerator, and then I'm going to have x and then y to the 5th. So as far as the final answer here, x to the 4th divided by x is going to get it down to x to the 3rd. I have y to the 4th divided by y to the 5th. You're going to be left with a y in the denominator. So that's your final answer. And again, y cannot equal 0 and x cannot equal 0. All right. So I'm going to have a couple practice problems here, and have a good day. Bye.